is Dr. Igman. I'm a climatologist. Today, I will be sharing some common climate change myths brought to you by various public figures. After listening to their comments, I will provide the facts behind the myths. Let's begin.
Oceans are going to rise 1/8 of an inch within the next 250 years. We're going to be wiped out.
In fact, absolute sea level rose 1/16 of an inch per year from 1880 to 2013. However, since 1993, that rate has increased to 1/8 of an inch per year. This is double the rate. So, given this new number, our sea levels could rise by 2.5 feet in the next 250 years.
I took a stand against politicized science when I sued the federal government over its decision to list the polar bear as an endangered species, despite the fact that their population has doubled.
The Center for Biological Diversity states that the polar bear is the world's most vulnerable animal. In fact, 2/3 of the world's polar bears could go extinct by 2050 if global warming keeps melting their Arctic habitat.
The ice caps are going to melt. They were going to be gone by now. Now they're setting records? Okay, they're at a record level.
Arctic sea ice is at record levels. But no, it's not getting bigger. It's declining at record levels. Arctic sea ice reaches its minimum each September, and the 10 lowest ice minimums have all been recorded since 2007.
The suggestion that any way, shape, or form that Australia, accountable for 1.3% of the world's emissions, that the individual actions of Australia are impacting directly on specific fire events, whether it's here or anywhere else in the world, that doesn't bear up to credible scientific evidence either.
What about the 2019 to 2020 Australian bushfires? An analysis of the impact of humans on climate change shows that the risk of fire weather has increased by 30% since the year 1900.
Look, I want clean air. I want clean water, crystal clean. And that's what we have at a record level. Our air and our water are cleaner now than it's ever been.
Well, in terms of air quality, a decade ago, fewer than 500,000 people in the US were exposed to any days with an air quality index of 100 or above due to smoke. Drought and heat set the stage for extraordinary wildfire seasons from 2020 to 2022 throughout many western states. Now, at least one day a year, 5 million Americans are living in areas with an air quality index over 100. As for the water, the Great Pacific Garbage Patch covers an area twice the size of Texas and contains an estimated 1.8 trillion pieces of trash. In fact, there are a total of 5 garbage patches throughout the world.
CO2 cannot cause global warming. I'll tell you why. It doesn't mix well with the atmosphere, for one. For two, its specific gravity is 1.5 times that the rest of the atmosphere. It heats and cools much quicker. Its radiative processes are much different, so it literally cannot cause global warming.
CO2 is a primary contributor to global warming. That fact is not disputed among climate scientists. The previous peak carbon dioxide concentration was about 300 parts per million 300,000 years ago. Today, that count is more than 400 parts per million. Now, I would like to step away from the presentation for a minute and discuss renewable energy. Solar projects and wind turbines.
You want to see a bird cemetery? Go under a windmill sometime. It's the saddest. You've got every type of bird.
It is true that birds die in collisions with wind turbines, but only a very small number.
Is some of it maybe human caused? Possibly. But certainly not the majority of it. I think it just goes through cycles, and it has to do a lot with the sun.
As I have already stated, the scientific community is 100% sure.
It's freezing and snowing in New York. We need global warming.
Okay, the TV must be broken. What's happening?
CO2 emissions, we're making the Earth a more fertile world.
It literally cannot cause global
It
warming.
has to do a lot with the sun.
The credible scientific evidence.
When I sued the federal government politicized science,
We're going to be wiped out. Clean water.
ice is melting. Polar bears are vulnerable. Fire weather is getting worse. Air quality is getting worse. There are giant patches of garbage in the oceans. CO2 causes global warming, and it is human-caused. It can be difficult to tune out all of the noise with so many trying to deny the facts. But these are the facts. The facts can feel overwhelming, but there are resources to help. Posted by the front door, we have a QR code which leads to reliable information and which we use for this presentation. I would like to end this presentation with a quote from Kumi Naito. Politicians can keep making excuses for their inaction, but nature does not negotiate. Thank you.